And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review. Today, I am reviewing Cave Story. Released in 2004, this is a very revolutionary indie game. Released on PC and stuff. I actually didn't play that version of Cave Story. I played Cave Story Plus. It came out on the Nintendo Switch back in 2017. Though I'm calling them pretty much the same game. Cave Story Plus has some upgrades across the board, but in all functionality reasons, they're pretty much the same. But I didn't play the older computer version or anything like that. But so once again, thank you to LikunMiffery for letting me borrow this game, giving me the opportunity to play it. Always, always, always very much appreciated that I got to borrow it. So this is considered a very revolutionary game because it was one of the first real big indie games to come out. And I gotta say, though, it's really, really impressive that this game was made by just one person. That is really, really good. You would not be able to guess that if you just looked at the game, played it, or whatnot, unless you had the prior knowledge going in. Knowing that this was made by one person and then going in and playing it more, that just makes me appreciate this game. I can't say that it's a perfect game, though. I do have a few gripes, but I got a lot of notes, so let's just jump right into it, shall we? First off, you can jump super far, which I think is really, really cool. It would have been nice, though, to be able to know that, like, holding down A allows you to jump higher / farther, or jump more, I guess. It just would have been nice to know that going into the game, because there's a lot of jumps in the game where there's a lot of platforms that are very precise. You have to be very precise with your jumps to avoid enemies, but also make the landing on the correct platform, and without without the knowledge of, oh, I can jump higher or farther with this, you won't probably figure out how to do that. But you get used to it pretty quickly. So I don't like that the down control, like pressing down on the left joystick, is the way to open doors and like grab things. It just seems super confusing in my opinion. Like, I already know you have A set aside to jump, but you couldn't have also made like A to grab things or open doors or something. It just seems like the last control people would go to or think of as the way to open doors, grab stuff, interact with stuff. Once you figure it out, it's not hard to use it. It doesn't work. It doesn't, it does work. It works fine, but it would be nice to holding back a sneeze. Okay, we're good. It would just be nice to have known that, The story's a little hard to grasp. It's literally just called Cave Story, so you would think it's just stories about being in a cave. It's a little more elaborate than that. You're like this robot thing, and you're like have amnesia. First off, so that brings up the question: does the robot have an actual brain? Because amnesia's a disease of the brain. Is that, at least I think it's a disease of the brain. So does this thing have a brain? Is it like the one episode of SpongeBob where Plankton makes a SpongeBob robot and puts SpongeBob's brain into the robot? Was that what this is here? That would be quite interesting. But you wouldn't know that you're playing as a robot unless you did a little bit further digging. But it's still fine. Like, it's a little hard to grasp, but it's a good story. It does what it needs to do. It's nothing horrible. This game is not, even though it's called Cave Story, it's not necessarily the most story-driven game out there, but it does just a fine job. Nothing too wrong about it. One little gripe is I don't think that sometimes non-enemies do damage. Like, sometimes you have to, like the one part earlier in the game where you have to interact with one of the rabbit residents and she hurts you. You can do damage. That's especially earlier on in the game when you don't have a lot of health yet, and then you go immediately to fight a boss that can kill you pretty quickly if you're not careful. So you really gotta be, you gotta know that going in. So, one thing I really don't like about this game, is that when you take damage, your weapons also get downgraded. I don't like that. It's not necessarily because it's like, now it's not super bad. It does give a good challenge incentive to, to not take damage, and you do get really good, your weapons do get some really good upgrades, and sometimes they can become very, very powerful, with just a little bit of XP. So, and it's pretty easy to get the XP back, especially since if you go in a room and then come back out, the enemies that you killed respawn, so you can just do it all over again. But it can be a little annoying, especially more high combat situations, that you can lose powerful weapon stuff because you took damage. I don't know that's why the developer decided to add that, but just not the best thing in my opinion. There's not as many save points as I would have liked. It picks up a little bit more as the game goes on, especially earlier on in the game when you're trying to figure everything out. It can be a little bit of a challenge, but it just wouldn't. Again, that's another thing. It was made by one person, so I cannot really be mad about it, and I'm not. But it would have just been nice to maybe not have to go through each and every piece of dialogue every time you die, in case you needed to go back into a different area. That would just be nice, in my opinion. The easy mode, in my opinion, is not that easy. I tried normal mode, and that didn't go very well, so I tried easy mode, and I don't really know why it's easy. It seems like you still lose the XP when you take damage. You still drown just as fast if you go in water. You still take damage. The life capsules don't give you any more health. So I don't know what the real thing about the easy mode is. Maybe it's shorter. Maybe it's got less enemies. I don't know. But easy mode, in my opinion, was anything but easy. So, and also the game's pretty short. That's to be expected. I mean, it's an indie game. Indie games are not necessarily always the longest. And this was made, again, by just one person. So, obviously, it's not going to be this 20-25 hour experience. It's only about 4.5 hours. If you're just going straight through the game. It can take you a little bit longer if you're just exploring or grinding out XP or doing anything like that. But, and like I said again, it's super impressive that this game was made by just one person. And, I ripped on it a good amount in this video, a little bit more than I had planned to, but it doesn't make it a bad game. I had a lot of fun with the game. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it's just, now again, I'm not the biggest indie game fan out there. I can respect it, though. Like, I respect that this took years for this guy to develop. This took a long time. And I think it's paid off exponentially. This game released in 2004, and 13 years later, it gets a Nintendo Switch port. It was on handheld systems, on PC. People are still raving about this game and absolutely loving it. And I think that's what we should take away from it, is that hard work and passion and dedication into something really, really can pay off. Hint, hint, YouTube channel. So, anyway, this is a fun game. Just a few gripes here and there. But if you are looking to pick this up, I would recommend playing it on, like, Steam. Unless you want the physical version. I guess the only way to have the physical version is on the Switch. So, yeah. But anyway, my final score for Cave Story, probably going to have to give it a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 game for me. Fun, but not overly fun. But very, very impressive nonetheless. So that's going to do it for this game review, though. If you've ever played K's Story, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And that's going to do it for this video, so stay tuned for much more amazing content, including more game reviews and other awesome stuff. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.